There's a photograph of you in someone else's house right now. Not on your phone, not in the cloud. The actual physical photograph. Slightly faded, slightly bent at one corner, sitting in a frame on a dresser or stuck to a fridge in the house you grew up in. It's been there for years, maybe decades. You don't think about it. You walk past it when you visit. It's just part of the furniture. But somebody looks at it. That single piece of paper holds more of your life in it than the 14,000 photos on your phone combined. This is a video about what happened when photographs stopped being objects, when the camera became a phone, when the photo became a file, when the one fragile image became 1,000 identical copies that nobody will ever look at. What we lost when our memories stopped weighing anything. The first thing about a photograph used to be it had weight. Not a lot, a few grams, but you could hold it. You could feel the smooth side and the matte side. You could see where someone had written on the back in pencil, your mom's handwriting, your aunt's handwriting, a date that was almost certainly wrong. A photograph was a thing. That mattered more than we knew, because it meant a photograph could be lost. They could fade in the sun. It could get stuck inside a book and forgotten for 15 years. There was usually only one copy, maybe 2 or 3 sent to relatives. Every photograph was rare, not because the technology was bad, but because each one cost something. Film, developing, time. You couldn't take 20 photos of the same moment. You took one, and whatever it captured was what you got. That made every photograph a small decision. Is this worth a frame? You waited for the right shot. You held still. You waited for the flash. And then for 2 or 3 weeks, you didn't even know if the photo had turned out. You had to take the roll to a drugstore, drop it off, come back when they called. The photograph wasn't taken. It was earned. Every house had one. A shoebox. On the floor of a closet, on top of a wardrobe, in the back of a drawer. Plain cardboard, sometimes from a brand of shoes that no longer exists, full of photographs your family had not yet sorted. That was the home of memory. Some of them were in albums, the careful ones, the ones somebody had taken the time to arrange, but most of them lived in the box. Photos from a vacation, from a birthday party, from a Tuesday afternoon nobody could later remember. Doubles, school pictures from grades you'd forgotten you went through. You'd open the box every few years. That was a ritual nobody named. Some quiet afternoon, somebody, your mom, your dad, an aunt, would say, "Let me show you something." And the shoebox would come down from the shelf. The family would sit on the floor for an hour and go through it. You'd find things you didn't remember happening. A version of yourself you couldn't believe existed. A grandfather you barely knew, laughing at a joke nobody could remember the punchline to. A house your family had lived in before you were born. A car your dad once owned and loved. That box did something a phone gallery can't do. It contained your family's memory in a single physical place. Not searchable, not organized, just present. You couldn't scroll through it on a couch alone. You had to sit on the floor with someone and pull photos out one at a time. The shoebox was a conversation. The phone gallery is a graveyard. Let me describe a photograph. You, age 6, maybe 7. You're standing in front of a couch your parents don't own anymore, in a room they don't live in anymore, wearing an outfit you don't remember owning. Your hair is doing something weird. You're smiling, but not the way you smile now. You're smiling the way kids smile when an adult has said, "Look at the camera and smile," and you're trying to do it correctly. The light is yellow. The colors are slightly off. The photograph is faded the way photographs from that era fade. The reds got warmer. The blues got softer. The whole image got a little closer to amber than it started. That photograph still exists. Right now, somewhere, it's sitting in a frame on your mom's dresser, or stuck to the fridge of the house you grew up in, or pinned to a bulletin board in a hallway nobody walks down except your father. It's been there for 20 years, 25, 30. You walk past it when you visit. You barely notice it anymore. It's just part of the furniture of your parents' house, the kind of thing that's been there so long you stopped seeing it. But your mom looks at it. She looks at it more than you know. When the house is quiet, when she's making coffee in the morning, when you've gone back to your own life and the house is empty, she holds it. She remembers the day it was taken. She remembers the outfit. She remembers what you smelled like that day, what your voice sounded like at 6, what it felt like to pick you up. You stopped being that kid almost immediately. By the time the film was developed, you were already a different person. But the photograph didn't move on. The photograph is still 6 years old, smiling at the camera, in front of a couch your parents don't own. The photograph remembers you better than you remember you. Then the camera became a phone. You don't remember exactly when. It happened slowly, over a few years in the late 2000s, and by the time you noticed, it had already happened. But here's what nobody told you. The camera didn't just change, the gesture changed. A film camera was one click, one frame. You raised it to your eye, you waited for the moment, you pressed the button once. That single press cost something. Film, developing, time. So before you pressed it, you decided. A phone is a stream. You don't press once, you burst shoot. You hold the button down and catch 30 frames, knowing one of them will be good. You don't decide before, you decide after, scrolling through nearly identical versions of the same second. That sounds like a small change. It isn't. When taking a photo was one click, the photographer was making a choice. This moment, not the next one. The choice was the photograph. The film was just the receipt. When taking a photo became a stream, the choice disappeared. There is no moment anymore. There is only footage of moments, captured continuously, sorted later, or never sorted at all. You stopped taking photographs. You started taking footage of your own life, hoping a photograph would emerge from it. The photograph wasn't taken. It was earned. The file is just captured. There is no earning. There is no waiting. There is no single press of a button that says, this moment matters more than the one before or after. We didn't lose photography. Photography is more abundant than it has ever been in human history. We lost the photograph, the thing, the object, the one piece of paper that captured a moment and asked you to take care of it. That's gone. There are 14,000 photographs in your phone right now. You took them. They are pictures of your life. They are your memory. When was the last time you looked at one? Not swiped past one, looked at one for longer than 2 seconds. Most of you can't remember. Now, I have to be honest with you. The phone gave us something film never could. It gave us the Tuesday afternoons, the unremarkable moments that nobody would have wasted film on. The last time your grandfather laughed at the kitchen table. You have a picture of that. You wouldn't have had it 20 years ago. Nobody would have loaded film for it. The phone democratized memory. It captured the small moments the shoebox era would have lost. That's real. I'm not pretending it isn't. But here's the trade. The phone captured everything. And when you capture everything, you select nothing. When you select nothing, you remember nothing. You have a picture of your grandfather laughing. It's the 847th photo in a folder you don't open. The moment is in your phone. It is not in your life. We have more pictures of our lives than any generation in human history, and we are losing the ability to remember our own lives. That's what happens when an archive becomes infinite. It stops being an archive. It becomes a graveyard. 14,000 photographs. None of them looked at. All of them waiting. That's not memory. That's data. So here's what I want you to do. Sometime in the next week, find one photograph that's physical, a real one, on a fridge, in a wallet, in a frame, in a shoebox somewhere. Pick it up. Hold it for a minute. Not 5 seconds, a minute. Look at it the way you used to look at one when you were a kid sitting on the floor of your parents' bedroom going through the shoebox. Notice the weight. Notice the way the colors have aged. Notice the edges, the slight bend, the slight fade, the small crease where somebody's thumb has been for 30 years. That photograph remembers something you don't. It's been doing its job, sitting in a frame, holding a moment in place for a quarter of a century, quietly, faithfully, with nobody really thanking it. The phone gallery can't do that. You have one photograph somewhere that means more than the 14,000 on your phone combined. You know which one I'm talking about. It's not too late to go look at it. What photograph would you save if the house was on fire? Not the one you took yesterday, not the one you posted last week, the physical one, the one in a frame, in a box, on a fridge, that you'd grab without thinking. Drop it in the comments. Describe it. The version of you in that photo has been waiting a long time for someone to remember.